All right, joining me now, first class father, Jon Gosselin. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you. Glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
All right, let's start it like this. How many kids do you have, and how old are they?
I have 8 kids. So I have twin girls, Maddie and Kara. They are 19 years old. They will be 20 in October. And then I have sextuplets, 3 boys, 3 girls, and that is Alexis, Aiden, Colin, Joel, Leah, and Hannah. Hannah and Colin live with me, and then Alexis, Leah, Joel, and Aiden live with Kate. And they are 15. They'll be 16 in May.
Yeah, it's incredible, Jon. What type of those sports or activities are they all into? The same ones, or are they all spread out?
It's all spread out. The two that live with me, Colin and Hannah, they don't play sports. Colin is in JROTC, so he stays pretty active. Hannah, she has gym class. She's more of a socialite. I was really active in sports, so I played soccer my whole life. I got a full ride for soccer. We're a big soccer family. My nephew is All-American in soccer. He's gonna go play pro. He plays for a D2 college now. He's the leading goal scorer in the country. He has his first tryout in Scotland coming in a couple months, so he's going to Europe to play. My older brother's a D1 soccer coach. So we come from a predominantly soccer family, but none of my kids really took an interest in soccer. One of my oldest daughters, Kara, she played lacrosse, and in college she rows for the crew team. So athlete-wise, I mean, that's what they do. I know Aiden had an interest in football. Leah plays lacrosse. Alexis runs track. But no one has, I mean, as far as competitive sports, I would say Kara was the only one that really did competitive sports.
Yeah, awesome. That's a nice variety there, too. And, Jon, if you could, just please take a minute here just to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
All right. I'm formerly of John K plus 8. Was on TLC for about 10 years. I filmed pretty much from 2005 to 2009. I filmed my family, the ins and outs of being a father of twins and sextuplets. I personally filmed about 115 episodes, and the show continued without me after 2009. It was called K plus 8 after John K plus 8. We got divorced in 2009, and there's a lot of turmoil and all that kind of stuff. Currently, I'm the IT director of a health clinic for undocumented and uninsured. It's federally funded. I DJ on the side. I spend time with my family. And I still do, I don't know, publicity stuff like red carpets, charity events, that kind of stuff. So I'm still heavily active in the media, but I still have a quasi semi-normal life. It's kind of different. I live different lives, but I live in my hometown where I grew up. My kids go to the high school right down the street from my high school, so it's like the rival high school, I guess. But I don't know. I'm trying to bring as much normalcy to them as could be possible.
Yeah, that's cool, Jon. And I'm sure this is well covered on the show and everything, but how did becoming a dad kind of change your perspective on life?
It's so long ago. I feel like I've been a dad the whole time, so I have no idea. I can't remember what it was like not being a dad. I became a father when I was 23 years old. I had twin girls. So everything changed. I didn't really have my 20s. I got married at 22. I had twins at 23, and I had sextuplets at 27. So I had 8 kids by the time I was 27 years old. And then I started filming the show when I was 30. So all my 30s were filming pretty much. All my 20s I had kids. But it really changes everything. I mean, your focus isn't yourself anymore. Your focus is your children. Your goals aren't to get money and go out and have a good time. Your goals are to focus, save that money, and dump it towards your nest egg, or your educate your children, or whatever you want to do with it. Save for them. So pretty much, I've been working for my kids more than half my life.
Okay. All right. And now, Jon, obviously you had a very public divorce here, and we live in a world where everybody wants everything to be equal, but in the eye of the court system here, usually it's the dad that starts from under the bus. What was the entire divorce thing like for you, and how did you go about being able to get custody of the two kids that live with you now?
Well, I've been going to court for 12 years, so it's not an easy battle. I had shared custody. I lost some kids. I had joint legal. I lost legal. I got legal back. Um, by the time, let's see, when Hannah was 12 years old, she wanted to live with me. So then I had to go get legal again, and then I got shared custody, and then all of a sudden now I got primary of her. I've been through 9 attorneys. I've probably spent 1.3 million in court, back and forth with everything else, and then I got sole custody of Colin. Kate has a no contact with him, so there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened with him, and I ended up with 2. There could be more that come, so I have no idea. But I mean, it's a long battle. Like I just didn't give up, and I'm still not going to give up. So, I mean, it's not just like wham bam, it's going to happen. And everyone's court case is different, and every state is different, and everyone's laws are different too. So, I mean, Pennsylvania is a no fault state for divorce. Custody's different. I have friends that live in Texas and Florida and California, so everything varies from state to state. But pretty much I didn't give up. I mean, I pretty much go to court every month over some custody dispute or something like that. It's getting better now that the kids are getting older. So what my attorneys and hers decided is custody is left up to my children. So if they decide to go live with mom or they decide to live with dad, it's up to them. Now we do have a guardian ad litem. So it's like having a third parent. So if there is a dispute between mom and dad, they can always call the guardian ad litem, and she is a representative of the court and the judge, so she can make a better decision if there is a dispute between mom and dad, which has changed everything. So I like it because now mom can't just say, well, so and so says this. Well, so and so can now call the guardian ad litem, and she can call the judge and say, well, so and so really meant this, and now the judge can really know what the truth is.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jon. And I love the fact that you're continuing to fight for your kids. I mean, I talk about it all the time on my show. There's a fatherless crisis going on in our country, and the results that we see with kids that grow up without a father influence in their life, they're pretty devastating in the community. So the more impact that dads can have on their kids' lives, I think the better. And what is the relationship like, if any, between the kids that live with you and the ones that are living with Kate?
Right now, it's very tumultuous, pretty much, because there's no contact between Colin and his other siblings. There's contact between Hannah and the other siblings. So the problem right now is we have parent alienation and we have sibling alienation. So with the guardian ad litem, she's trying to alleviate that, and I'm trying to get family therapy through Colin and Hannah's therapist, so that therapist can talk to the other siblings and try to find some common ground, because I think it's super important. But we're nearing, they're going to be 18 in 2 years. So it's going to be quite difficult. But, I've been going to court so long, I'm nearing the end of the tunnel here. But, if one parent you can't just go to court tomorrow. That's the problem. And these judges, they're overseeing murder trials, there's petty thefts and misdemeanors and felonies and all this stuff. They're not just family court judges, so they're seeing all sorts of stuff. And I don't live in the nicest area. So, the court log fills up quick. I could file today. I might not get a court hearing for 3 months. So, it's pretty difficult, to force that. So what I try to do is go through the guardian ad litem, and she tries to arrange it as much as possible because she has direct access to the judge. So that's helped quite a bit. So in the near future, I'm hoping that we can have a meetup like that. But pretty much what I'm waiting for, as soon as my 2 kids that live with me drive, they have every right to go drive to their siblings' school, pick the kids up, and Kate can't stop them. So, I'm hoping that'll break down a lot of tension between siblings.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be definitely very helpful at least. And do you look back now and regret ever doing the Jon and Kate plus 8 show, or are you happy that it revealed some things that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have known until later?
I don't regret doing the show only because I've learned so many life lessons that probably would have taken me years to learn. I've met a lot of great people. I'm interviewing with you. I have a good platform to use to help other people. That's pretty much what I've done. Although I've probably taken the brunt of most of it in the long run. But financially, my kids are pretty good to go moving forward. But there's blessings and lessons with everything. You have to remember there were no reality shows back then. We were the first, and anytime you do the first of anything, it's pretty tough. So we invented a lot of laws and regulations that went along with filming children and all different sort of things. So I don't really regret anything. It's life, and if I sit around and dwell on it, it would be horrible. I wouldn't function properly. So I just take it as it comes, and then the best thing about lessons are don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, very well said. And were there times wherever you would look back at an episode of the show and see something maybe about yourself that you didn't like specifically and make a change?
Oh, absolutely. I was young. I was 20. I was 20. How old was I? 28 when I started filming, or 29 years old started filming. And of course, the way maybe my ex talked to me or anything like that. Now I have broader shoulders. That would never happen today. I'm a lot more self-confident, and I see things a lot differently, a lot more clear. So I think the way I carry myself is a lot different than I was back then. And I'm a lot more outspoken. And I think, I don't know, I have a clearer picture of what I want to do and how I take care of myself and how I see things.
Yeah, very cool. And what type of disciplinarian are you as a dad, Jon? And having the cameras around all the time, did that make it more difficult to discipline the kids?
I'm not a corporal person. I try to get down on their level and talk to them, where I think Kate was a more corporal person, so we had major differences that way. My dad's from Philly, and my mom grew up in Hawaii, so they were different people too. But we always feared my mom, even though she was little. But my dad, he was very gentle and kind, but I would never mess with my father ever. We just knew our place in the house. But I feel like I'm a loving father. I get frustrated. Don't get me wrong. No one's perfect. But I don't know. I just felt like we had different parenting techniques, and that also led to our divorce. We thought about things differently. We just grew up differently. So I think I want my kids to come to me and tell me everything, but I also want them to experience the world and make mistakes and be free and express themselves freely. Where I think my ex tries to control every single thing and try to set a standard and this and that and don't walk outside the boundaries. But I'm like, how can, they're going to go off to college and experience the world, but if they don't have a foundation, how are they going to function, without any self-reliance or any guidance, with no skills to go into that world when they leave home? So I'm trying to build out all that now through adolescence. Like my two kids go to public school. The other kids go to private school. They go to a huge public school. They have 500 kids in their grade. So, they're going to a school of like 2,200 kids in high school. So they can see all different types of people, all different walks of life, so they can experience that, because that's what college is. They're people from all walks of life. So I think they're going to be more well-rounded when they go off to college than my other four might in a private school where they only have 50 kids in their grade. So it all depends.
Yeah, very well said. And I did see your interview there with Dr. Oz, and I know that you had the gag order on you for quite some time, and you were taking a beating in the public eye, especially on social media and stuff. What type of reaction or feedback and response have you gotten so far from your interview with Dr. Oz?
All the feedback I got from Dr. Oz was positive. I mean, it was a big weight lifted off my shoulders. It was a great. I mean, I've known Mehmet since 2009. I've had some dinners with him. I met him through Rabbi Shmuley, and when I lived in New York, I went to a lot of Jewish functions. And the interview kind of came up. It was a good platform, and he's just an easy person to talk to, and I just kind of let it spill, not all of it, but enough that people got the gist of it.
Yeah, it's good that you had the chance at least to speak your piece on it. And what about as far as you, Jon? What type of support system do you have on your side here helping you go through this? You have a strong village to help you raise the kids?
No, I have me, my girlfriend. They have therapists. I have a therapist. It's always good to have someone to talk to. You always want different viewpoint on different things. I have couple close friends. That's it. I don't really. They have good friends. It's my hometown. I grew up here, so it's a lot easier because I know everybody. But my family's here. All my family's here. My father passed away years ago, but my stepdad's here. Both my brothers and their families. My kids, cousins, my brother's kids. So everyone's pretty close, and we get together often. So they have a good support system. It's a good sense of community around here. I'm glad I moved back to this area so they can feel that community on how, like, Colleen and I grew up together. Colleen is my girlfriend. We grew up 3 blocks from each other, so we all know the same people. So it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I wonder sometimes myself if it's a blessing or a curse, because my parents passed away before I met my wife and had kids, and my wife's parents are divorced and not in her life. So it's like my kids are growing up without either one. And sometimes it works out, but we don't have that in-law drama. And then there's times where you wish you had the family around,
the grandparents
to lean on. So it's kind of a different dichotomy going through it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Colleen's parents are my kids' pseudo grandparents. So it's like everyone kind of fills in, and she comes from a huge Irish family, so it's like there's a lot of people. We're always going to something, some kind of function.
Yeah.
So
and I do have quite a bit of single dads or divorced dads or guys that are just on the onset or going through a difficult relationship that listen to the podcast here. So what type of advice do you have for that dad out there that's just on the onset of this whole divorce thing?
Take a deep breath, little baby steps every time, and try not to take on too much at once, because guys, we're horrible at multitasking. So try to focus on one goal, get that goal done, and then move to the next goal. Because when we try to take on too much, you're never going to accomplish the first step, and then you're going to miss out on certain things. And if you're spending time with your kids, make sure you focus on your kid and not try not to get distracted so much, because that easily happens. So, like, for instance, Sunday football. Instead of going to a bar and watching with your friends and your kids, just try to watch it at home when you have custody. You know what I mean? Watch the game at home or have your friends come over. That way, you have control of that situation. If you go out and watch the game, you're never going to have control of this situation, and you'll be distracted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then the next Sunday, when you don't have custody or whatever, you can go out with your friends and do all that stuff. There'll always be more football games, but your kids will only be young ones.
Yeah, good stuff there, Jon. What about for yourself here? I know we're just a month into the new decade here. What kind of goals or plans do you have here for yourself for the future?
I don't know. I'm really contemplating a lot right now. I have a lot of opportunity to do different things. My career-wise, I've been in IT for 20 years. I have a lot of different opportunities with different corporations and stuff like that. I'm still at my current job, but there's a lot of other offers on the table in that path. I have other media paths too. I've been working on a book for a long time. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish it because I still have teenagers. I don't know if I want to finish it after they graduate or before they graduate. So it depends on the ending of that. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's been swirling through my head lately about where I want to go with this year, and where do I want to see myself in the middle and the end of this year. But like, I can see light at the end of the tunnel with my children and I feel like I'm at the end of my divorce and those kind of things. It's been exhausting the last decade, so I kind of feel like my normal life is kind of kicking off. In a couple of years, I plan on moving out of Pennsylvania once my kids graduate high school and those kind of things. So, planning for the future, pretty much.
All right. Yeah, very good, Jon. The last thing I want to hit you with here, I'd love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for the new dad or for the about-to-be father who's out there listening?
The new dad, you better learn how to change a diaper, boy or girl. Because no matter what, because they always say, I'm never changing a diaper. I'm like, yeah. And you better learn how to make a bottle, because at some point, someone's got to sleep. Oh, and make sure you sleep. Definitely make sure you sleep. I know, people are like, oh, I'm going to rough it and try to stay awake. Yeah, that doesn't work. But yeah, take time for yourself too. Take a deep breath. And just remember, no kid ever pees in kindergarten. They will be potty trained at some point.
Yeah, very well said. I love the message. This has been an honor for me. I love the way that you fight for your kids and for to be a big part of their life. I think it's so important. I got to say, Jon Gosselin, you're a first-class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time on First Class Fatherhood.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.